I never lit.
You see what I mean? It's so much
Let's
smoother
do
when
it.
you just intro with combos and just let it.
All right. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Antonia. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. Gang, gang. I want y'all to know we back here on Amped Up Live after the whole Christmas bash. Everybody stuffed and stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually it's about to be New Year's Eve. Damn.
In like 4 days.
Less than that.
Oh damn.
We about to drop this Monday. Tuesday's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
That's
Not
one
Christmas.
day.
You
I mean New
fucking-
Year's Eve. New Year's Eve. I'm in 2020 now. I don't care. But yeah. So So you already know who it is. Antonia. Follow me on at Music by Antonia, all my social media sites and all that good stuff.
7702.
Gang,
That's
gang.
for everything. And
That's 702.
you gotta introduce yourself.
Yo, who we got in the building?
Yeah, I know, right? Give me an intro.
All right, so
Don't forget,
This
we got
is-
talking to the mic.
Gotcha.
Come
my
into
first
it.
time, yo.
Come into the mic. Come into the mic. The mic
Got
will come
you.
to you.
you might have. All right,
So who are you? What's your name?
So I'll start off. My name is Darnell.
Hello, Darnell. What brings you here today to Amped Up Live?
Kind of just want to figure out what you guys got going on and talk a little bit about Black enterprise and entrepreneurship in the community.
Okay, and which community is that?
So, in general, the Palm Bay community just for a start, and then just overall, just, Black enterprise in itself and how we need to put a little bit more time towards it and talk a little bit more about it.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's talk. What do you feel? How do you feel the Black community illustrates entrepreneurship or businesses here in the county?
I think it's not done enough. I think
Talking to the mic.
sorry about that. I said I think it's definitely not done enough. There's a lot of talent in the area, and there's not enough people coming together to produce that talent, to make it bigger, come together as a group, as a one. And I think that's important. That's what Black enterprise is based off of. You got a various amount of talent, a various amount of people, just ideas, and you have something like this, minority owned Amp Live. It's not out there enough. Amped up. Sorry, Amped Up Live.
I'm just playing.
Yeah, that needs to be known more. That's something that we need to come together as a whole to really grow.
Right.
That's what I mainly want to talk about.
Okay. So what are ways that it can grow? Like, what are the outlets you feel that? What's an example? Explain to us. Talk to us.
So a lot of times the circles aren't shared enough. We all know about the bougie Black circles or
Right.
the bougie
It's the
minority
support.
circles. Yeah. And then we have a little bit less of that, or you have, a little bit of the hood and a little bit of the rougher side. I call the streets and I call the book smarts.
Right.
What a lot of us don't understand is that, the combination of the two, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's dangerous. As history repeats itself, as we see, as on the daily, those two coming together, that ignites it. Like that is what a driving force is.
Right.
People are scared of that. Like they're like, wait, hold up, these guys are coming together from this side of the world into this side of the world, and they're coming together as one. You have the best of both worlds.
Correct.
And I think that's important, and we need to start to share those circles. More importantly, we need to start to grow from each other's circles, each other's networks. So,
like
think
buying back the block, basically.
exactly.
Right.
That's something I feel like Black people really just gotta focus on. I don't, how Jewish communities,
Perfect.
they have their own ambulance, own police, own hospitals, medical, like everything, and they're not seen as that's racism. I feel like when Black people try to do that and establish their own just for Black, it's seen as racism. I feel like that got to be a stigma that's like cut out too. Black love is not Black racism. Like, and I feel like people get that twisted a lot. Like other cultures, because every not other cultures though. I'm sorry to say it, but like
No, it's the truth.
Important. It's the truth.
yeah, is because the Spanish have their own, like every city have a Chinatown.
Yeah.
Where's a Black community?
Right.
It's very important. Like, just kind of piggyback off what you said. I know
Yeah.
earlier you mentioned keeping the Black dollar in the circle.
Yeah,
And that doesn't mean to be racist at all. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that we're only Black focused, but if $1 goes around and every black business, touches on
Yeah.
it, that means we're growing each other.
Right.
Exactly.
That means we're unified.
Correct.
So that's exactly kind of like, how the Jewish do it. This guy owns this business, this one owns this business.
Mhm.
We all need each thing to survive. So why don't we work together? Let's share this dollar before it leaves this circle into another circle. It's gonna get used so many times,
Right.
and that's what makes each business grow.
Like, so all right. So one thing that blow my mind is, how back then where they had we had the bus thing where everybody wanted to sit in front of the bus.
Mm-hmm.
So they had basically they stopped using the white buses just to sit in the front, but didn't just start black buses. That's how fucked up that I feel like, I'm sorry for cursing, but that's how fucked up the black mind is right now. We would rather be tolerated than be just accepted.
Our own.
Yeah, by our own. Why didn't they just start their own bus, their own taxis? It's like you said, the black dollar have to stay more in the black community, and the only way we could get there is with knowledge and taking the steps. Because I feel like some people are
Absolutely,
afraid to
but
take the
also,
steps.
I just feel like when it comes to support, when you say the black dollar, but the dollar today, it has a lot more support behind it. The government's behind it. The government's not going to back up any black dollar.
Yeah.
You're not going to get, it has to be also, you have the dollar, but it has to be supposedly, has to have, gold behind it or whatever. Not that there's gold behind the dollar nowadays, because it's nothing. There's no value in the dollar.
Yeah.
So if there's no value in this dollar, like, they're not going to have no value in a black dollar. So it's like, it's kind of a lose-lose. But at the end of the day, it comes down to support. Keeping, we have to start having our own businesses, working within ourselves, supporting each other, doing more for each other, being there. And honestly, loyalty and trust comes far with that. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, we really don't have that.
Yeah.
In anything, in each own household, it come down to that. So I mean, it's kind of like, damn, you really can't do business with mad people.
It's true, and that's a big issue.
So
and like, how do you see the black community getting into business, getting into real estate, or getting into the social media business, as far as like creating apps and just being financially free? How do you see black people being financially free?
Well, I mean, it all kind of goes right back to, you said, I mean, it's one word that says it all: unity. Mm-hmm. A black brother could really, make it. He could do whatever he wants, and he can do it by the help of, I hate to say this, but by the help of a white man, or he could take his brothers along so that after he passes, someone else comes behind him.
Yeah.
So unity plays a big part in that. Having the communication and network to share and understand that, and not try to step on each other. If I'm a little bit further than you, or even significantly further than you, instead of hating or envious, try to figure out,
be the crab in the bucket,
and you try to understand how I did that, or ask me so that I could serve as a mentor to you. Same as the people that have mentored me come in. I still have mentors that every day that I learn from, people that I look up to. And when I have a question or I have a step that I'm trying to achieve, I just bounce the ideas back off them, especially if they trailed that path before and that they've created something there, and I can kind of like piggyback off it. It's important for that. I think that's big.
And so what are you into right now, like your businesses?
So I mean, just growing up, I mean, I've always kept my hands kind of in so many different little pots. I was working with cars for a long time, buying, selling cars. I mean, I've had so much, aid when it came down to mentorship. I had a lot of people in the game that helped me coming up when it came down to learning how cars work, when it came down to, people helping me achieve what I didn't realize I could achieve. I mean, I remember probably by the age of 15, I mean, I had already sold probably over 50 cars. I had already made a good chunk of money. I mean, my first my first year of college, I paid the thing off in cash, just off money I had saved. Just
See,
in
but when
college.
it comes down to that, it's not really. It's yeah, it is about you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, it's about your parents and their parents and their parents. It's really about how you were raised.
And
Yes,
how they
yes,
set it up
yes,
for
and
you.
yes, and no.
And how no,
So your parents are only there till you walk out that door in the morning.
totally
You know, so
right.
it's
I mean,
really
you gotta
up to
have
you.
that willpower or that that motivation. That
You need a mentor.
so who is your mentor?
I mean, I have a various amount of mentors. That's a hard question to say. You know, I
Okay.
have a good partner of mine.
Right.
You know, his name's Daniel Garcia, and ever since I was a kid, this guy has always seen something in me. You know, I wanted to get in cars. He's like, okay, cool. You know, you work at my shop all throughout the summers. You sweep up, you pick up the parts, and at night I'll show you how to work on the cars.
Okay.
And I'll help you. From there, you know, he saw something in me, and it went from working on the cars to selling the cars. He gave me so many opportunities that it was like, hey, look, I'm gonna just take them. He's always giving me a shot in the dark. Hey, just take it. All the way up to the point where, you know, I realized a cap there. He's like, all right, well, it seems like you need to go a little further. So I want you to stop coming to the shop. You should go off to college. Even though I don't think you need to, you should go off. And you should figure out a different world and bring it back here.
Wow.
And that's kind of exactly what I did. You know,
That's
I
a
got
great,
the book smarts.
That's a great thing for somebody to tell you to do.
For real.
To go.
You don't find that. You don't find enough people that are
No,
willing
you
to just
don't.
do that for you. You know,
Right.
so I made it a point. You know, I went into the real world. Not to say what we were living wasn't the real world, but I went out into that atmosphere that he didn't ponder as a kid. You know, so he made sure you get out there. You bring what you need to bring back to this table so that we can combine that. And
so, how do you feel about school counselors? You know, do you feel like that should be their job, or they're not doing their job?
so
That's a
yeah,
tricky question.
I would hate to bash somebody
Because I feel
else's
like
career.
that's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Even through college, I feel like you should be having an advisor to be advising. You know.
You know,
Quote,
I hate to bash anybody's career, but you can't pay someone to help someone else be successful. I don't believe in that.
right.
Someone has to want and someone has to see something in you. And that's why I think mentors and mentees, they go hand in hand. They're perfect. You need that. If you pay a counselor a salary, you know, he has to work for that salary. He has to do his job. He has a quota to fill. Like, he has something to do. So I think the percentage is really low that he's going to actually, you know, make a successful star, or he's going to really make an impact on a kid's life. They don't do it enough. You know, they don't give you enough of the guidance. They don't give you enough of the taste of real world. It just feels like you're just going to someone to help you pick your classes and say, hey, yeah, go to college.
Right.
But what does that
And
really
they're
mean?
dealing with 1,000 kids, so they can't focus on just that one person.
Yeah, you're not gonna remember. Do you actually
Yeah.
remember what I do? Do you remember what college I went to? I mean, that I don't see too much help in the counselors I've had back in, you know, high school and college. Not to bash anybody.
No,
I feel like
totally.
a mentor should definitely be somebody that's doing what you want to do, or at least know the steps of what you're trying to do, and could tell you how to take the steps to get where you're trying to get.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be somebody just hired to talk to 1,000 kids that day. I don't
mean,
think you
also,
should
too,
pick that as a mentor.
It's kind of like having their lines, you know, aligned. You know, it's just, I don't know. I felt like maybe you were also eager. You gotta also be eager to want
Drive,
to.
yes.
You're the
A
drive,
drive,
you know. And I
yeah.
feel like maybe you were looking for that too. So, and that person saw, you know, closed mouth doesn't get fed, and I felt like that's what you were doing. You were like, oh, maybe I want to do this, and that's why I kind of bring it back to you know, your parents. They kind of.
But then again, I mean, there's a lot of other people that saw what I was doing that could have easily, you know, probably put me down the right path or held me. Instead, they didn't. They're like, oh yeah, this kid's, you know, he's a show off, or he's doing, you know what I mean?
True.
So instead of doing that, they stood silent. You need at least one person to stand up, and that one person is gonna help the next guy and the one right after. So
Well, I had a lot of influencers in my life, you know, from many times, from running in track or running for, you know, activities in school, you know, anything, any aspect. I had so many people, so I understand what you're saying. So yeah, that's totally right. But now, how can that because not everybody can get that opportunity. So how can that be infiltrated to other, you know,
well, that's why
kids? We're here. I'm asking you.
So
you're on my time now. How you have the answers, Sway?
Well, yeah, I mean that that's something I hope to do. As I progress in my career, is always take a step back and know that I got to be humble and I got this to this place somehow, and I'd like to take a step back and try to pull other guys back, pull other females back to kind of see if they have potential, kind of push them in any way I can, just to help them achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. Or if I see more in them, just push it a little bit further. Just if you have a talent, just go a little bit further. Mm-hmm. All you gotta do is push a little bit more. You never know what's behind that next door.
Yeah. So how did you get into selling cars to the point where you basically run a successful dealership? And
besides, because I didn't know you sold cars, so what do you do?
So I mean, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm an investor. Okay. So a lot of times I get my hands in different investments just based off kind of believing in people. Okay. So right now I have my hands obviously tied very well, and Nate, it's the real estate. It's a good market here, whether it's buying houses or new development. Mm-hmm. That's something that I do. Mm-hmm. But cars is something I'm big into. Like, I love cars, and I'm always still I have a shop out in Palm Bay. Still repair cars, paint cars, and sell them.
That's amazing. So you really invest and to support the community here. And that's because you can branch out and have your, and that's a platform, which you do.
People
you help with housing, you help with vehicles, you help, it's outsourcing. And that's really, really.
I think the housing and getting into real estate, a lot of people would want to know how to get into that. And that's a great way, like we was talking about, like buying back the community is real estate. So how did you get into real estate? And what's the steps should people take to get in there?
I mean, I always say, look, if you could see it, you could be it. That's my thing. Like, if you feel like you want to be a millionaire, you're gonna be a millionaire as long as you keep your head straight, and that's exactly what you want to do. But as far as real estate, that was I love houses. I like just seeing stuff turn from nothing to something. I'm all about the whole rags to riches. Mm-hmm. That was a different field for me. Real estate was more of something I wanted to kind of get people's wheels turning and get them moving. Like, hey, look, this is different. This is something cool. It wasn't necessarily all about the money, especially now that I'm looking further and further. It's like low income families, low income housing for people, trying to give them a better life for less.
Yeah, I know you were saying you were trying to get into like the apartment buildings and complexes and that's great for like low income and helping out with the community. So how could, like, what's the steps that you take? Like, what was your first flip or your first move with real estate?
I think the first thing, even when it comes to real estate now, is literally what we're doing now. It's just talking to people. Yeah. Sometimes you may be talking to your next investor. They might be right next to you at the pizza shop or wherever it is that you're at. Or just you're in the right circle at the right time, or you kind of breathe that light. If you want this circle, it's gonna be there, but you gotta actually envision, you actually talk about it, and eventually what you want is gonna be sitting right around you. So I think that's the first step to real estate. I wouldn't sit here and give anybody a sales pitch. Oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. There's no one way into anything.
That's true.
You might bump into something by chance. You might bump into something by luck. I mean, it really is. It really is what you're looking for. What is it that you want to put out there? What is it? What do you want to stand by? And I think that for me, I love talking to people. I love the idea of investing in someone and seeing their full potential.
So if somebody was to come to you with won the lottery, got $50,000 right now, what would you take? What would you take with that money and do with it? Like, what would you do with that money?
So if they were young and they're a millennial, and, first thing I'd tell them is I'd give them a little financial advice. In real estate. Yeah, in real estate, because I say financial advice because, you're going to tell me all of this about real estate and how you want to invest, but once that $50,000 hits your bank account, everything starts to change. Hey, like, I need a new pair of Jordans. I need a BMW. Car looking nice. I need all of this. But the first thing I'll tell them, hey, look, think about what you want to do. Is it you want to make a lot of money? Do you want to create wealth? Like, what's your end game with this whole thing? Mm-hmm. So that would be my first thing. Then my next thing would tell them, hey, look, go out there, look what's going on, see if there's properties that look like something that someone's gonna lose, or look like a property that's might be damaged, and you're interested, and you figure out a way. You got to be a people person. You got to talk your way into a lot of these things too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
key.
Yeah.
Knowing when to talk business and properly talk business, like a proper handshake or properly introducing yourself.
Having the etiquette.
Yeah. You can't be, hey, it's like, yo, what's up?
Like, what's good? Invest in me, yo. No, it's not really like that. That's why you have people to even talk for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's actually, it's funny you said that. That's never been one of my pitches. Invest in me. That's never been my thing.
Right.
It's more of like, hey, look, this is an opportunity. Is there a way that we can figure out a way to do this? Like, how do we do this? I always start off with how do we?
Yourself.
Right.
Like, let's build this. It's a team. I never look at it. Can you help me make a lot of money? That's not my goal.
Like you said, it is investing in yourself.
Yeah, it's not on you, because you're helping them. It's not for you really. It's really for them, because it's. I feel like whenever you use an investor, you're helping the investor, but it's really helping yourself.
Right. You want
the end game
yourself.
is really
Yeah.
Even with a mentor, getting a mentor, it's helping the mentor too, like helping you. Because
I don't know if you have to do much selling though. I think the
really
truth always shows itself, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Right. But you definitely you show how you are, and this is what it is, and this is what it's going to be. So
what's the process? Because a lot of people don't know. What's the process of owning a home right now?
Well,
I feel can you explain why it's because obviously it is important to have ownership of having property or vehicle or just even credit, because nowadays the way things are going, right, we really have to talk about how to put it out there that people should start establishing or should by now have their credit established.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a different opinion on that. So as the generations move on, I think credit is actually going to be something that isn't so important at all.
You think so?
Yeah, of course. I see credit now as something that's in the limelight, and people see it because it's what we're taught. Like anything, we're taught these things in institutions. But the reality is, if someone told you this is what you need, that means they sold you something. So who's really the one making it here? The guy who taught you something, right? He made you go to the institution. He made you believe that you needed credit.
Very true.
So why don't I just not listen to the guy and create my own rules, right?
So if I was to come to you and ask, how do I purchase a house? What would you use? You have to use my credit to see my history, right?
Or I could look at what is your history? Like, what do you do? How much money do you make? How much money do you have in the bank?
But you have to look at my credit.
No, you do. Right. And that's a defined fact. I mean, it's not that it's something that's going to change now.
So if you don't have credit, then you don't have ownership to pretty much anything.
I can't say that either. I mean, I think there's times where, I've purchased properties in the past where, it's it was myself that got the property. I was able to, talk to the right people, and it was less about the credit. They were more like, I see something in this young man. This guy, why would I not give him this? This makes sense. Let's give this guy a shot. Credit is just something.
I mean, that's when also you have your first time.
Yes, no. If you're talking about like
depends on the weight also, but you really can't go out there and it's like you have zero credit, no history of anything, and you're going to get a house.
If you're talking about the actual like down to the T logistics, cool. We can say credit. You need credit to buy this. But I'm saying it's important. But it's also important to also have yes and no. So watch this. I'll break this into probably terms that you guys probably even better because I'm not a big, huge music guy, but I follow the industry a little bit. So, for example, someone like Nipsey Hussle, right? Rest in peace to him. But he speaks a lot on stuff like that. Like he's like, credit. Why do I need that?
Right.
He's like, I believe in myself, and that's one of the things that he talked about a lot.
But that's a given.
So
I'm not trying to say sell your soul so you can have your credit, but at the end of the day, make sure you understand credit's pretty much important too.
Like, I feel like now credit is important because you use that for everything.
Right.
That I see what you're saying. Like later on down the line, like when you have money, credit might not be so important. But I feel like it'll be easier on you if your like credit is right because you get better deals. Because even like jobs now, like certain government jobs won't hire you if your credit is bad.
Very true.
That's crazy. I feel like
it's
that's kind of fucked up.
It's like I have good work ethic. I may
Yeah.
not pay my bill on time, or I may,
Life's hard. Shit happens.
You don't know my income. You don't know what's going on in my household. But no matter what, I'm coming to work so I can take care of my credit or my bill or my this and that. But so even with people with terrible criminal history,
how would somebody with like a 420 credit score get a house?
So let's put away the complete logistics of down to the detail of buying a house, right?
Yeah.
Because just like I talked about before, I feel like I've been privileged to see both sides, kind of some of the street smarts and a lot of the book smarts, right? Mm-hmm. Just seeing what the system does to a lot of people and how we follow it to the T, thinking that's the only way. It really does, like, it makes me very uncomfortable that people think that that's truly the way. Right. It's the only way. Right. It's not true. Mm-hmm. It's your credit. Let's say you got shot credit, right? But your network is full of people that have a lot of money, right? And there makes sense for them to, let's say, loan this money to you, right? And you have to figure out a way to pay them back, like the barter system, like it was, many, many years ago when we didn't have a bunch of, fine-tuned screens to tune anybody out just because of a number. I mean, what is this? What is this number? What is this credit score?
Yeah. All right. So what would you do with the money that the person would give you to get the house? Like, what's the steps you take with the money?
You build your worth right there.
No matter what, because I'll come to you straight cash. Like
that's what credit is.
That's totally
to me. That's
understandable.
what credit is.
Right? Yes.
If I give you $100,000 and you say you're gonna pay me back this $100,000 in 30 years, and this is my interest, this is my terms, and you never miss a payment, and you're on time, you do what you have to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm. When you fail, you fail. Like everything in life, you fail and you get back up. To me, that is what credit is. That's where the street smarts of myself I see, because I've fell so many times. Made a lot of money
that's real money.
Yeah,
right. That's hard lending. That's straight money right there on the spot.
So that to me, that's what I call credit. I think these
I call that loan shark.
Oh.
I'm joking.
But then again, there you go. Those are terms. Those are terms that society gives to things like that. But are they really that bad?
Yeah.
Are those kind of
it's really not.
No.
You know what I mean?
Those are black lenders. I'm just joking.
We give derogatory terms to them. We make it sound so bad.
But the term black obviously is also a bad term to people too.
Yeah, so, that's true.
Anything like that. Anything dark or negative looking.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm not telling everybody to sit and screw up your credit and not pay your bills.
No. Pay that.
You definitely gotta get your credit right now. I feel like now, if you don't have the people to help you, like get money, or like give you the money to do that, it's gonna be like really hard.
But what you gotta ask yourself: do you trust yourself to actually have that money? A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I wish I had the chance." But do they actually know what it feels like to have the opportunity, chance? Because a lot of times we get it and we screw it up automatically. Yeah. So that's important too. That's where true credit is built. It's showing your worth. I mean, yeah, somebody could easily lend you $100,000 with these crazy interest rates. But are you gonna stick to it? Are you gonna pay it? Are you gonna show yourself in the end? Are you gonna be that? So when you need it again, or that person can come to you for something else, are you gonna be that person, that man or that female, to stand up to your word? So that's credit. That's what true credit is to me, not a number. Just like a GPA. What is it?
All right. So what would you do with the money though? Like, what's the process of getting the house?
So if we get down to like the nitty gritty, I mean, owning a house or just owning a personal house, getting a mortgage, right? That's the first scary.
Yeah, personal house. Just
getting a mortgage, getting pre-approved for a mortgage. There's so many different ways now. In society now, we understand like bills come up, issues happen, people are coming back from a life that was not so great to a life they're trying to build towards. So a lot of different lenders, a lot of banks, they understand these things. So it's more of putting yourself out there and say, hey, look, you know what? I know that I want to get a house. I know that I may not get approved this first time, but I got to start grooming myself. Sometimes people lose a pre-approval because they got unpaid bills from a hospital for like $200 and it's been sitting there. Just take the next 6 months and look at the things that you can clean up. Clean them up, put yourself on the right track, keep focused, and that can happen really easy. It's not as bad as people really make it seem. Oh, getting a house, that's going to be such a huge thing. It's not that bad. There's a lot of opportunities. You have,
but you are filled with so much information, obviously. Have you ever thought about trying to open up like a nonprofit organization to like mentor or push other people, or have like a monthly meeting or something maybe? Because people offer like, you could even have like classes on YouTube or seminars or something.
Yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned that too. So that's something that I want to retire doing, but
Retired? How old are you, nigga?
I work very hard.
Dang.
I think that the only way to like appeal to people, and it is sad to say this, but you got to have a lot to appeal to the younger generation. So I feel like that I have a long way to go, so that I can double back and make them understand like, oh, look, this could be achieved. They might be quickly blindsided by money and they'll see all this stuff, and that's what I probably will use to kind of bring a lot of people in. But the reality is, I just did that so that you can
influence.
see it. Yeah, but I have a bigger message than just the money. I just wanted to draw you in because I knew that was the only way. It's the only way to get the generation.
How would you target them?
So it's not to say that it's hard, but you have brothers all day long. They're trying to rebuild their life. Coming out of jail, they can't find a job. I'd love to give the opportunity for people to get into construction. Like I work a lot in that. Give them hope, kind of get them through a system, get them through a tech program, put them in construction, help them with stuff like this. But at first glance, they're just looking at, all right, this guy's gonna give me a paycheck and I could just get by. No, that's the least of what I want to do. I want them to. If you grab a hold of 10 people, at least one can try to like reach for the stars. One's gonna try, hey, look, I want to get this guy's position. I'm all about that. I love when someone comes to me like, work with me, try to get my position. Kick me off the seat. Try to get where I'm at so that I can go try to get something else. You know what I mean? Like kick me off there. I don't want to be here. I want you to get here so that you can pull somebody else in, so I can figure out another way to get hired. So then you could just keep trying to get right after me. And that's what I would do if I had the opportunity to have a non-profit. But that's definitely something later down the line for sure. I'd like to do.
I like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So basically, getting a house is not that hard. So with $10,000, you could own a house to live in if you had 10,000. I feel like, because it's like what 3%. You said like. Yeah, it's like 3%. You got to put down.
Like if you're going down to like an FHA mortgage, 3 to 5%, on a down payment, and then you have
it?
Yeah. Then you have what they call.
I think that's what a lot of people want to know about, like the numbers, like what's the process with the numbers. Like if I had $10,000 or something like that, a lot of people get like lottery or like money from parents and grandparents. They get like $10,000. How can they get a house with 10,000?
So I actually have a colleague of mine, work very closely, helping people get mortgages. His name is Travis Williams. He owns Home Vision Mortgage, and it's actually right around the corner from here. Mm-hmm. So he gives me a lot of knowledge that I need to know on mortgages. But from what I see, it's not just like, okay, just the money. You got to have a little bit of the track record, so the so-called credit. But yeah, $10,000. Let's say if this family member gives you this family member gives you this contribution, and you need help getting the closing funds. I mean, sometimes there's opportunities where they got first-time home buy or home buyer assistance where the town will help you pay for that just so that
how
you
does
can get
that
into
work?
the
How
house.
does first-time home buyer work actually?
So obviously there's a qualification process, but a lot of times not many people even apply or even know much about these programs. So they don't really get that as many applications as they could. People are not privy to these opportunities. And that's what's important. If we're such big on owning a house, then you just got to dig a little deeper. You can't just say, oh, well, I got a bad credit score. It's never going to happen.
Right.
That's
it's
not
taking
the way
the initiative. A lot of people don't do that. Take the first steps and trying to go get a house.
Never let my current situation be my only situation. You know what I mean? You never let this deteriorate you from having this, even though it looks bad here, but you still want this. I mean, it's possible. You just got to dig a little deeper.
So what if you have the money? Like, how can you determine, like, what can help you decide where would you want to purchase a home? For instance, say I live here. So I like this area. Like I like Palm Bay or Melbourne, but
I think that would be a personal thing, right? What exactly you looking to gain from owning a house? Some people, they want to give their kids a better life because they've lived in the inner city for so long, so they want to have them spread out in the suburbs. They want a good school system, which is always the biggest thing with couples. They want a big school, so they want a great school system, so they'll pay a little bit more, especially on the taxes, so that the kids have a better opportunity to grow up. So that's one reason. Some people do it for investment purposes. They know that, hey, the property's by the water or there's a lot of amenities around. I'm going to spend a little bit of more money for that because, location is everything. You got, tourist visitors come to the town and they're easily going to do like an Airbnb, or it's easy to rent the property out. So I think in that avenue, when it comes to real estate, it's really, what's your overall goal? What are you looking for? Some people are just looking for a cash cow where they could just make that monthly money and, it's
I'm
easy.
looking for a vacation home.
See, that's there you go. Location.
I don't want to be here in this country.
That's a beautiful thing.
So what would I do? I have to get like another dual citizenship thing or something, like if it's not in here in this country. I guess you wouldn't.
I
really
wonder
know.
how does that work.
Yeah.
So they actually have a lot of little not little because they're big. They have a lot of real estate management firms that help with such that, like, you have kind of like some of the higher people that have real estate outside of the country and they want it to be managed. They also want to, easy, hey, I come on vacation, I just want to just come relax and have fun. So they have a lot of that. That's actually pretty common when it comes down to, celebrities and kind of people that have a little bit more money.
Or vacation home.
Hope one day I could do that.
Or vacation home is pretty, and especially the country too. What country would you want a vacation home? You gotta look at the weather. You gotta look at a lot of stuff because that property get hit with a natural disaster.
Yeah, that could happen.
That money is.
Or you just gotta take a chance. Find somewhere new.
Hope you got house insurance.
Because they're also very important when you're purchasing a home.
Yeah. And it's not that much money. A lot of people think house insurance is a lot of money, but it's really not too much if you get like the right insurance. And that's why a lot of people don't get it. Because I meet a lot of people that doesn't have house insurance.
What, homeowners insurance?
Yeah, homeowners insurance.
I mean, a lot of times most of the time that's a requirement when you get a mortgage because that helps the lender secure the asset. In case of any damages and stuff. So that's actually very important.
Yeah, but I met a lot of people that don't have. And
yeah,
that's crazy.
That may not be
not
smartest
in
thing
Florida, but in New York,
Mm-hmm.
I met a lot of people that doesn't have homeowners insurance.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of a
crazy
risk that you don't want to take, especially with probably the most expensive purchase you'll make in your life. That's kind of scary to do, actually.
Now, when it comes to, sorry to cut you off,
but
when it comes to, I like the insurance part. When it comes to that, say for instance, I moved into a neighborhood and it was bad. Do I have 30 days to refund and try to relocate? Like, how does that work? I can do that, right?
You mean after you purchase the house?
Yeah, what if I wanted to move to Texas and I did not know,
areas,
or it was a high
risk area,
like of pedophilias or pedophiles, or
I would hope not.
How do you get out the deal?
That's actually
that's
actually not true. I mean,
I'm just saying, could I break that deal?
No, I mean, once a closing is closing.
Damn.
But I would hope that someone would
I'd be like, I'm flipping that. I was going to rent this out the next 30 days.
Airbnb. That's a great thing now with property that you're not using.
I mean, I would hope someone would do a little bit of research when you go and make a purchase.
Totally. I would just, you never know nowadays.
But you do have a lot of investors, they're buying stuff from online. They can care less. It just seems like a cheap number. So they just purchase it and find out later. It's like, oh, what was that?
And I feel like that's happening a lot with bad communities, or investors are going to them and not investors that care about the community.
They don't even know where their
house is.
Just
making it nice.
Which creates a saturated
market. What's crazy that I think about that? A lot of college areas have, hood areas with them. Why is that?
You know what? I think it's a big a tax cut that they give the communities, give the colleges, the institutions when they're building these big buildings.
And people come and buy these houses and be like, "Yo, where are the landlords?" But you live like in Guam. You don't even know
these landlords.
This is a school in Philly or
look where
Chicago.
FIT's at. Look where
they getting paid though.
At.
They getting paid though.
Damn.
But that's
money, you see, and it's all infiltrated to the same. It's in the same hands. It's passed around. It's not going back to the community.
Yeah, and that's a big problem. See, and that's the
look right here on University Drive, like you said, FIT.
FIT's right there, right?
And they're gonna start knocking it down and stuff. People are gonna, where they're gonna put them? Where they're gonna people? That sucks. We should have had our own money to invest into our own neighborhoods.
And there was a point in time where that investment would have been easy. When the market fell, there wasn't enough people to say, "Hey, look, you know what? Let's put some money here. Let's do this."
The knowledge is not out there, though. The knowledge is not out there at all.
It was it was out there, but
A lot of
people didn't want to.
Yeah, do you think it's the knowledge that's not out there, or a lot of us, especially our generation, they're just looking for the quick return? They're looking for that money right up front.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a big thing. But I feel like nobody was taught
to invest.
Like my parents, I'm sorry, like my dad.
You just learn to work till you retire and die.
Great business, like
It's
he
not.
could do business.
Some people.
But investing, he invests, but it was always in his country. It was not like in America.
Mm-hmm.
It made money, but it didn't make too much sense.
Right.
You feel me? I feel like it's like the knowledge, like getting a house. If with $10,000, you said you could probably get a house with 520 credit, $10,000 maybe. With 10 grand, you put down the 3% of a $100,000 house.
Or you may not get it the first time around, and at least you know the process so that you can start grooming yourself and understand what you're gonna need coming around to make.
Some
this
people
happen.
think getting a house is out of this world.
Yeah.
Some people don't even think about that.
They don't.
And because of the knowledge.
Right.
Some people don't know how to even fix their credit with just getting a fucking credit card from your bank for $200 and pay monthly.
So it goes back to kind of what you mentioned earlier about school counselors. I don't mean to bounce too much around subjects, but
it's the truth. It's
the
all
the
comes
schools are
together.
not teaching.
It comes down to,
like
and I really, as before you said that, I was like, we're not being taught. Like, what? I feel like it has to be like before you get your license, you have to be taught how to
drive.
Shit that
the
before you go out in the world, you should know how to fucking work in the world.
That economy class, the economics class we took, we should have knew more.
Yeah.
We should have had maybe 3 years of that because that's U.S.
Or
today.
every
Forget
year.
about U.S. history class. We should be learning about U.S. today type of stuff.
Instead of filling the curriculum with pointless classes, gen eds, just so I could spend more money with the institution.
Learn how we could fill in your shoes. Learn how we could do more things. Because I know those teachers were worried about how to get houses and doing other shit. You know, this was a little quick hustle for some of them.
And even when and it's just I don't know. I have a real weird touchy topic. Just because I've been in the institution, it's just so weird to see what actually goes on from the outside of looking in. Even entrepreneurship, when they realize that, oh wow, there's a lot of people just starting to own their business. They thought that I'm going to create an entrepreneurship class. What sense does that make? All right, now I just think you're just trying to get every bit of the dollar.
Right now you're being greedy. You're not even trying to. Bridge the gap. You're just like, here, give it to me.
I got some majors in entrepreneurship. No, that doesn't make sense. Let me tell you why. I mean, if you want to breed, better entrepreneurs, you want to breed better businessmen or better businesswomen, you teach them the basics, the basic necessities of understanding finance, understanding life, and understanding how to invest. Don't create a major just so that you can make more money in an institution. That's all I see.
That's ignorant.
It's somebody else selling you on their dream.
Yeah, but that's America.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be gold streets.
Word.
Look at it.
Right.
It's 2020 and there's still because we're set. I feel like we didn't get set up to win at all because we didn't have the knowledge. Like reading to us was illegal. So.
But I don't think that we should use that excuse any longer. I think there's enough of successful African Americans and there's enough of people with money to understand that we can make a difference.
Are they giving out the knowledge?
Are we seeking the knowledge or are we not? Which one are we doing?
It's so true because I tell people, I'm like, I don't like lazy people. It's just like, why don't you look for the answer? Everything is out there. We have Google, we have YouTube, we have everything. You're stopping yourself. If you can think it, do it. Look for it.
That's how I
feel.
Look
for it.
But in other societies, everybody else help each other. Like the Jewish.
You know what's crazy? My brother was saying that
they help each other.
Not only that, they pass down to their kids, to their business, everything. That's so crazy.
What are we doing?
We're not investing to pass down.
Nah.
We're just like, buy us out.
It's basically
the quick buy.
I want to be the man.
That's it.
And I want
that's messed up because I feel like if I'm the man, all my friends gotta be the fucking man. I don't want to only
one together. Look,
that's
I got
whack.
a business. You got a business. How can I help you get a business? What are you good at?
And
You
I don't
sitting
think
ass
that
too
happens
much.
a lot
Let me
in
help you
our
with
community.
something.
Because everybody wants a quick
Right.
payout. Everybody wants to be rich quick. Everybody
Right.
wants to just make it. They see this guy up there. Oh yeah, I envy him. I want to get there so quickly. No, why don't you just work in line? Why don't we all work together? If he gets bigger, that means you get bigger, right?
Yeah.
Then eventually,
Of course.
everybody's gonna move up the ladder, or it just doesn't even be a ladder anymore. It's just an equal playing field.
And
But
I feel like
we don't work together.
that's what's messed up right now. Not right now, but has always been messed up in our community. It's just not helping each other, not giving each other the knowledge. Like you said, you still, you know how you said, like, we don't go seek it, but person next door just found out how to flip houses.
Right.
He didn't show nobody else in the community because he sees everybody in the community as somebody he's gonna get money off instead of helping them to get money too.
That's such a bad way of thinking, man. When I'm out there and I see someone else doing exactly what I'm doing, or they're doing it better, like that excites me.
Right.
That's good competition to know someone that looks just like you, he's doing something you're doing or even better. That should want to push you guys both. Hey, look, you know what? Let's drag somebody else into this. They're gonna see us doing something. They're gonna follow our footsteps. So that's what's important. I mean, there's enough money to go around.
Some people got it in their blood though that they don't want to help nobody. They just they just look. This is me. This is what I'm gonna do. And all right, you do your thing.
That's hard.
But that energy is like stuck in them, maybe stuck in their history and then in their future. So that's, and it kind of weighs out a lot, and they're gonna end it for like.
Well, that's why we need to break that circle, right?
Well,
and that's
good
once
luck.
again
I'm
with the
joking.
knowledge. We just gotta hand it out. We gotta let people know the steps of owning a house and turning that house into a rental property.
Well,
and
this is why we have Amped Up Live. This is the platform here for you guys to tune in. We're gonna hook you up with everything, all the knowledge you need.
because that's definitely
That was the commercial.
Oh, is it?
Okay,
that's definitely.
I'm just
something.
asking a question. Has anyone ever said that you look like Ray J?
Ray J.
Randy's brother.
That one.
I've
got Kanye West so many times.
Nah, but some of your expressions, you were like, I was like, whoa, is this Ray J? I was like, what the hell? Like a few, I was just a little stuck. I was like, how the fuck?
Ray J getting money right now.
He is.
With entrepreneurship.
Yes, he's definitely an entrepreneur. Definitely.
He plugs in everything.
And that's the thing. Once you have an idea, do it. Don't be afraid. And some people are afraid to take their action and put their foot down, and
they just don't think it can happen.
they don't think.
Yo,
write it down over and over and over. Talk to people about it. Talk about your idea. Research your idea.
Yep.
And if everything matches up, or
Make
just make your dream come true.
Or just work at it. I mean, I'm gonna keep quoting Nipsey Hussle because I mean, this guy is huge.
He's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, dive off the deep end. That's what he said.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're gonna put us into it, dive off the deep end and go all the way. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy, but you know what? Just dive into this thing. You believe in this thing, just keep going, and it's something's gonna happen. You're gonna make something out of this.
Exactly.
But we don't do that. Like, especially as millennials, we give up so quickly, or you know what, this didn't work out, I'm gonna switch it up. Nah, just work a little harder at it. If you gotta go, just go for it.
For real.
Yeah.
Like it.
So
Once again, it's a marathon.
It is. It is a marathon. So we're gonna try and close it out here. I definitely love your energy. We're definitely gonna have you back because you're full of insight and
I'd love to be back.
You're amazing. How can people reach out to you if they have any questions or anything? I don't want your phone number. I just want to know, I just, sign me up for the network. I'm sure you have some teams, But how can people, that's watching, how can they find you if they have any personal questions or they want to maybe see if you can mentor them?
Yeah. Or like real estate.
Yeah, car, because obviously your experience with the cars and, how can they reach out to you?
Email. Yeah.
Damn, just what the fuck? What the fuck? So, what do you got? I think I heard you say you don't have social media yet.
I don't really do too much, and it's only because, again, I'm back on the generation thing. I don't dig too deep into social media because it's just all right, it's overpopulated. So,
right.
But I do have, business profiles that, I have people that manage them.
You have LinkedIn or something?
Of course.
Okay, so what's your name? How can people?
So you can just find me on LinkedIn, Darnell Dodard. I'm always willing to connect.
How do you spell Dodard?
Dodard, Dodard. It's French.
Dodard.
Dodard.
Oh, Dodard. Okay.
And if you type in idea facilitator. That's one of my names. So that's some easy way to
Oh,
find.
you got a logo?
I don't. But I'm
you
always
better
about
work
hearing
on
people's
that.
ideas, people's
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, and that's something I love
Well,
to hear about.
We're always here. We can always meet and discuss things.
Of course.
Nate's a great friend. I'm glad he
I'm
introduced
glad
me
he
to
connected
you.
us.
Shake my hand.
Can't reach it. See, I saw it coming.
Damn, that was good. All right. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I guess thank you for showing us love and
Yeah, definitely.
doing
Anybody
that.
reach out, you want to talk, I'm always open.
Yeah, that was very good. And, I appreciate your time and all that. So, you guys, thank you for hitting us up. Subscribe to the channel. Do all that good stuff. Thank you, Darnell. Thank you,
Appreciate
Nate,
you for having
Seven,
me.
in the building. All that good stuff. So, yeah, thank you.